Welcome back to another Stormgate video. Today we are covering the Infernals. There's a lot to unpack with Infernal units. They have very interesting mechanics, some of the most complicated in the game, but also it's hard to define which one is their most basic unit, as they kind of have three basic units. However, I'm going to start with what is the most quintessential unit of the entire Infernal faction, and that is the Fiend. The Fiend is going to be relevant in almost any Infernal strategy. Fiends are a crucial speed component to any land army for the Infernals. They also provide a lot of damage as they attack very quickly. However, they are not produced in the traditional fashion, so let's talk about our other Infernal units and how fiends are produced through them. The Brute is a slow-moving, slow-attacking unit. However, it can split into two fiends on death or when the ability is activated. Once upgraded, it will split into 3 fiends instead. There is another upgrade that allows them to give increased attack speed to the fiends after the split. It is worth mentioning that if split manually, the fiends will gain white HP. All Infernal units will gain white health while standing on Shroud. Shroud is emanated by certain Infernal structures. See my video on Infernal structures basics. White HP totals 25% of the unit's total health and layers over the top of the unit's HP. This is quite necessary for Infernals, as they have no way of healing their units outside of health camps. White health will slowly deplete off of fiends that are not on Shroud. The Hexen is a very interesting unit. You actually start with one as you load into the game. It is capable of teleporting to a shrine, Wraithstone, or Shroudstone. The Hexen also has the Skull of Shaddaa, which is an ability that when you cast it, emits a skull that you're then able to control. It flies, and once it collides with a unit, it will do 25 damage and reveal them for a short amount of time. This, like all of the Hexen's abilities, will infest the target, which means that when they die, they will spawn a fiend. The next ability is Venom Trap, which places an invisible trap on the ground. When the enemy walks over it, explodes and infests the target. It takes a second, it is a trap, it's not really meant to be used in combat. And funny enough, they have the sound design from the Vanguard Repair. This is probably going to change. In fact, I guarantee it's going to change. The game is not finished yet by any means. Last ability is this powerful infest ability, which is Miasma, and it causes them to take 700% bonus damage from Infest. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that Infest actually deals damage over time. The Gaunt. The Infernal's tech tree is kind of a forked tech tree, and the Gaunts are on the other end of that fork from the Brute. The Gaunts have 3 abilities, but they're all passive. Reaper's Rush boosts their speed. They have their Bouncing Bone Axe, which allows them to bounce attacks, dealing splash damage. And the last ability allows them to infest targets they attack. The Magmadon. We've seen several units that can create fiends, but the Magmadon, and a couple other units, can consume them for white health. This happens almost instantaneously, which allows you to do so in combat as long as there are fiends nearby to consume. The Magmadon also has the very potent Trample ability, which causes repeated stuns and damage around the Magmadon. It can move while trampling. The Weaver can also consume fiends for white health. It has the Lash ability, which allows it to pull a target to itself. This can be a friendly unit or an enemy unit. When the Weaver attacks, it deals a percentage of the target's health, 15% for units and 10% for structures. The Hellborn. Once upgraded, these long-range attacks will deal damage in a cone behind the primary target. Targets hit with the fireball will ignite, taking burn damage for a short amount of time. The Shadow Flyer. These flying units explode on contact, killing the unit, but dealing explosive damage in an area in the air. Once upgraded, they can also dive bomb structures, again sacrificing themselves for damage. They passively detect stealth units. The Harbinger. The Harbinger is a kind of unique dropship which can pick units up while flying, but in order to deploy them, it must land. When it lands, it unloads all of its units nearly instantaneously. While landed, it produces Shroud. Once upgraded, it will slam the ground, stunning all nearby units, allowing you to deploy safely. After channeling for 3 seconds, it can teleport to a nearby shrine or shroud stone. The Spriggan. The Spriggan is a flying support unit which is able to debuff targets when it attacks. When fully stacked, it will be a 30% reduction to attack speed, movement speed, and production speed. Once upgraded, this goes up to 60%. The Imp is the primary worker unit for the Infernals. It is capable of self-destructing. It channels for a moment where it cannot move. Afterwards, the fuse is ignited, and you only have a short amount of time to detonate on your opponent before they automatically self-destruct. The Flayed Dragon is a very powerful, very expensive unit. It costs 150 Animus, which is what the top bar ability uses, and I go into more detail on what Animus is in my video on Infernal structures. But it also costs 700 Luminite and 700 Therium. However, it is well worth it. The dragon is capable of utilizing a more powerful kind of infest, which allows the dragon to spawn 2 fiends from units it kills. It is also able to consume the infest off of nearby units to restore its white health. Whether to consume or to overwhelm, fiends and infest is always at the core of all Infernal strategies. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.